Open your front door on a 40 below morning. The warm air stays behind you, your shoulders tense, your fingers curl inward. Before you can even form a thought, your body is already telling you to go back inside. People call that softness. But the body standing in that door is almost the same body that walked into Ice Age winters. Thin-skinned, poorly insulated, and without the thick coat most cold weather animals grow naturally. And yet humans kept moving further north. They wrapped themselves in animal hides, they built shelters from hides, earth, wood, and mammoth bones. They stored food before the landscape went empty. The human body did not suddenly change at the edge of the cold. So what was really keeping people alive? The body itself, or everything they had learned to build around it?
Step inside and winter almost disappears. You zip up your coat in a heated hallway, cross a driveway, get into a heated car, and then walk into another heated building. Most people do not actually spend a winter day out in winter. They just pass through it on the way from one warm place to another. That can make ancient humans seem tougher and modern humans seem soft. It's a satisfying story, but it's also the wrong one. Cold does not care how tough you are. Your shoulders still rise, your fingers still stiffen, and exposed skin still loses heat. Toughness is not insulation. What changed was the amount of protection already surrounding the body.
You did not invent your coat, your furnace, your walls, your roads, or your winter food supply. You were born into a system built by people you will never meet. Evolutionary anthropologists call this cumulative cultural adaptation. Useful solutions are taught, preserved, and improved instead of being reinvented from scratch every generation. A warm room does not make the body stronger. It simply makes the cold less noticeable. Ancient humans were not winter-proof animals. They were vulnerable animals surrounded by increasingly capable human systems. But a room can only protect the person who stays inside it. To move through winter, humans had to make that protection move with them.
You put on a coat while the hallway is still warm. Your skin isn't asking for help yet. That's the point. Prepare while the world is still giving you time. Winter punished groups that waited until the cold, hunger, or darkness became urgent. Fire solved the first problem, but only in one place. Walk away to hunt, move camp, or gather more fuel, and the warmth stayed behind. So humans learned to carry a small, protected climate with them. A loose hide helped, but cold air is very good at finding an open neck, a loose wrist, or a gap around the waist. Eyed bone needles and other sewing tools made it possible to shape, close, repair, and layer clothing around the body. A hide was material.
A fitted coat was a system, but clothing could only go so far. It couldn't protect an entire group through a long night of wind and snow. Humans built shelters from whatever the landscape provided: wood, earth, turf, hides, snow, and in some places, mammoth bones. The idea that people regularly lived inside intact mammoths is an exaggeration. The real evidence is strange enough. Parts of an animal became walls. Then those walls created new problems. Fuel had to be gathered. Clothing had to be repaired. Food collected in one season had to remain useful in the next. Remove one layer and the whole system begins to weaken. You have fire, but you have to leave it behind. You have a coat, but nowhere to sleep. You have shelter, but no stored food to eat. Humans didn't grow better fur. They built what fur would have done. But even the best coat, shelter, or food cache disappears after a single generation if no one remembers how to make it again.
Then the power goes out during a winter storm. One person checks the furnace, another pulls blankets out of a closet. Someone counts the food and water. Someone else calls the older relative who lives alone. Nobody announces a survival plan. The problem simply gets divided among the group. That matters because the lone survivor makes a great movie character, but is a poor model of human history. No one person needed to know everything. A hunter could read tracks and still be terrible with a needle. Someone who repaired clothing might depend on another person to recognize changes in the weather, preserve food, or keep a fire burning through the night. Evolutionary anthropologists describe this as socially transmitted knowledge. In plain English, humans do not have to reinvent winter from scratch. A solution that works can be remembered, taught, improved, and passed on.
Polly Wiesner observed something similar in her research with Jew Huntsini communities.
During the day, conversations often focused on immediate tasks. Around the fire at night, the talk more toward stories, relationships, and shared knowledge. That doesn't prove that Ice Age winters created culture. It shows what controlled warmth can make possible. Time for useful information to pass from one mind to another. Modern heating hides the same dependence. One finger touches a thermostat, but the cold is actually being answered by builders, engineers, energy workers, roads, fuel systems, and repair crews that the person inside may never see. Comfort makes the group disappear. The dependence remains. Clothing and shelter stored warmth. Preserved food stored calories. Other people stored knowledge. Personal comfort is not the same as personal self-sufficiency. A tool can break. A tradition teaches someone how to make another one.
You are not a weaker winter animal. You are a protected one. One body was vulnerable. The shared system was not.
So how did a nearly hairless animal survive winters made from mammoths? By refusing to make the body face winter alone. Humans stayed warm with fitted hides, stored seasonal food for the months ahead, built walls to block the wind, and relied on knowledge shared across the group. Each layer was already in place before cold, hunger, or darkness became an emergency. Bravery might help someone take action, but it could not insulate bare skin. The real advantage was not a tougher body. It was collective preparation. The next time you zip up a coat or hear the heat click on, notice what protected you first. The human body was vulnerable to winter. The system built around it was not.